friends. Welcome to the next installment of 12 Keys in 12 Weeks, but we're going to do something a little bit different this week. Instead of going over just the scales and chords, which are still in the worksheet down below, we're going to learn a song that's written in this key. So this week, we're in the key of F sharp, and I've had a lot of questions about why we should bother learning these keys that have so many sharps and flats in them. And the fact is, a lot of pop tunes are originally written in these keys because it's indicative of what the singer needs and their range, not what's convenient on the instrument. So we're going to learn this week, we're going to do Smash Mouth's Allstar, which if you've been following me for a while, you know is way outside of the wheelhouse of what I usually do. But I always liked this song. It makes me think of being back in high school and also playing in musical pits for the show Shrek, which I really enjoyed. But this song is originally written in the key of F sharp, so let's dive right into it. We're going to start out on an F major chord, which means you're going to bar across the first fret, and you're going to use your ring finger to play the third fret of your G string. And then you'll use your middle finger to play the second fret, or an F sharp, on your E string. And then your pinky is going to come around and play the fourth fret of your A string. So we'll play this for one full bar, and I'll show you the strumming pattern in just one moment. After this F sharp major chord, we're going to go to a C sharp. And all you need to do when we go to this C sharp is just lift up your ring finger and middle finger. Maintain that first fret bar, and the pinky's already on the fourth fret on the C sharp where it needs to be. So you can practice just going back and forth between these two and making sure you're not making any unnecessary movements in your hand, so it's nice and simple to get back and forth between these. For our next chord, we're going to go to a G sharp minor chord, which we're going to bar on the second fret now, so you'll just slide that first finger on up. Your third finger will take the fourth fret of your G string. Your middle finger will take the third fret of your C string. Your pinky will reach around and get the fourth fret of your E string. And then you already have the second fret of your A string covered by the bar that you just slid up. And the reason we're using this bar and not a single one is because next we're going to a B major chord. And for B major, all we need to do is lift up your pinky. You already have the first two strings barred. And the second and third fingers are going to stay exactly where they are. So the chords for the first section of this, they will be one bar apiece, and this will be repeated for the entire verse form as well as the pre-chorus of the song. So you'll go F sharp, C sharp, and then G sharp minor, and then lift up the pinky, and you're at B, and we'll just keep going back and forth between these. Now this will take a little bit to get used to. These are funky voicings that you might not be used to. But they're also bar chords, which means if you learn them in one key, you have them in all 12 keys and you can move them all over the fingerboard. So think that you're really learning more like 144 chords at a time, not just 12. So our strumming pattern for this song, we're going to try something a little bit funkier. Kind of reggae backbeat kind of vibe, but not really strict reggae. So what you want to do first is just mute your strings so you can get used to what your right hand is doing. Now the right hand is just going to play eighth notes the entire time. Down, up, down, up, down, up. But we're going to accent certain beats just a little bit to give it a little bit more of a rhythmic feeling to it. So if you start strumming, right, there's our straight eighth notes. We're going to swing it just a little bit, just like this. And we're going to accent beats 2 and 4. So with beats 2 and 4, you're going to strum just through a tiny bit harder or a tiny bit faster to get this percussive sort of element. And then we're going to show you something on the left hand in just a moment to make this work even more. So your strumming pattern will be like this. All right, so let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So once that right hand is consistent and you're not overemphasizing the 2 and 4, just giving it a little bit extra spice, we can add in the chords. So let's start on our F sharp major chord, but what we're going to do is when we have that strong beat on 2 and 4, we're just going to release pressure and play a muted strum on 2 and 4. So it'll sound like this. So let's try that together. Just on the F sharp chord, all you're doing is just releasing a little bit of pressure. You see, you can barely see my fingers move, but I'm not fully pressing down the string, so we get that percussive element instead of all the notes, and that breaks up the monotony of this eighth note strum. 1, 2, 3, 4. just like that. And then we can add it over top of the other 4 chords here as we go through the changes, and it'll sound something like this. Just like that. So we're always changing on that last upstroke right there to the next chord. So we could sing along with a little bit of this if I do my best not to screw up the lyrics, as I have not sung this song in probably 17 years. As I date myself just a little bit. But let's see if we get just this first little verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. Ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She looking kinda dumb with her finger and her thumb, the shape of a nail on her forehead. And then we'll repeat that for the verse, and that's all of the verses and the pre-chorus in the song, and we're good to go. So now when we get to the All-Star part, hey, now you're an All-Star, get your game on, go play. We're going to play the same exact strumming pattern through this whole thing, but we're going to change up the chords just a little bit. We're going to start off on our same F-sharp chord that we have played, which is 3, 1, 2, 4. We've already played that just like the beginning of the tune. And then we're going to go to the B major chord. That's the last chord in the verse section of this song. So it will be 4, 3, 2, 2. And then we're going to do something a little bit funky. In the original Smash Mouth version, they play a power chord, which is just the root and fifth, but they use a flatted fifth. So the notes are C, F sharp, and C again, or there would be a G flat more than likely if we're analyzing it as a semblance of a C chord. But I think in an acoustic version, playing a G sharp minor 7th chord works a little bit better here. So what we'll do is we'll voice that chord like this. It will be 1 with your first finger on the G string. The pinky will play the 3rd fret of your C string, and your middle finger and ring finger, respectively, will play the 2nd fret of your E and A strings. And then we'll resolve right back to the B. So the chorus section will have something that goes a little bit something like this, with F sharp for a bar, then B, and then we have our G sharp minor 7th, because we still get that G flat or F sharp in there, which is really the important leading tone. And then we resolve back to our B. And we'll use the same strumming pattern that we used previously. So that's our chorus. And then the last time, just our last bar, we have one slight difference here. Instead of going from an F sharp to a B, we're going to go to an E first before the B. So the only shooting stars break the mold part. We will play our F sharp that we already know. And then we'll go to E, and we can voice that 4, 4, 4, 2. Just like that. I know everyone hates the E chord, but I'll drop a link in the description here to give you some alternative voicings for an E chord that you might like just a little bit more. So we'll go from, the last line will go from F sharp to E, and then we'll resolve down to B for 2 bars. And that's the entire song right there. So the left hand is a bit tricky, but once you get used to these bar chords, you'll be able to put them all over the neck of the instrument and transpose these tunes to any key that you really want without too much effort, because the chord changes will look exactly the same. They'll just be in a different position on the neck. I'll see y'all next week.